You're watching a video which is part of a series of videos about my creative process as an artist. In the previous video, after talking about the initial spark that led me to start a project about maps and the cosmos, I showed you my brainstorming process. I knew I wanted to materialize this vision of things into a sculpture, so I then showed you the steps of the technical preparation for the sculpture. And so far, the sculpture was supposed to be a visualization of macrocosmic graphics, a term I invented and that in very short designates grand representations of the cosmos. I invite you to watch my previous videos if you want to know more about these macrocosmic graphics. So, in short, I proceeded to make a technical drawing for what will eventually be a sculpture made of acrylic sheets. But then I realized that I was not 100% satisfied with the concept behind the sculpture, and went back to the brainstorming phase, as you are about to see. So, the next step in the exploration of the topic is that I found out, okay, well, it's really interesting, this macrocosmic graphic, but they are actually incomplete if they aim at representing the universe, because they exclude personal universes and the representations that one has of their own future. And that's what I designate as macrocosmic graphics. So I talked about science and representations of the universe, and all of a sudden I'm using the word universe in a metaphorical way, right, to talk about personal universes. So how do I make the link between the two? Well, basically, what I found out during this big brainstorm about science and blah 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 is that physics didn't just create knowledge about the universe, because physics enabled computers, mobile phones, and other modern automated technologies. And so it created another universe composed of digital worlds layered on top of the natural cosmos. That's my lens on the topic. That's the way I frame it. So of course, humans didn't wait for the invention of the internet to create their own personal worlds and express them. But what the internet did was to create the opportunity to externalize these worlds more easily, and what is super important, to interconnect them through blogs, video channels, and other social media platforms. So for most members of my generation, Generation Z and the following ones, all of these fictional worlds got interconnected, created constellations, and then eventually turned into a whole digital universe that is at least partially fiction, because all the content we produce is basically selected, sculpted, edited, mediated. And so this content shapes our view of reality and of possible realities, as well as our perspective on the future. And this is where you see how I connect the two, right? So it is like scientific representations of the universe driven by physics nowadays, and physics gave birth to internet, which gave birth to these digital universes, which also influence the way we perceive reality in the future. Yeah? So in other words, science and the way future is conceived based on it seem sort of detached from reality and individual conceptions of the future, despite science translating reality. And microcosmic graphics, which are personalized fiction since they are built on selected and sculpted content, seems almost more real than scientific reality. And this creates a space for thinking about the changing relationship between the real and the imaginary. So now I want to include these microcosmic graphics to my sculpture. But how? We all have different universes, so I need some sort of symbol that represents them all. And that's why I came up with the pachinko. Wait, what? What is a pachinko?